it's Crystal here. I'm back with another review video for you guys, and quick disclaimer in the beginning of this video, like all my videos, this is a sponsored video. I received this product for free from Yesstyle.com in return for a 100% honest review video, and I also want to mention that I look very much the same as the next video that I'm uploading at the same time because I recorded all this in one day. Anyways, the product that I am reviewing is actually from Moonshot. This is the Correctfit foundation, and you can get this from Yesstyle's website for $26.90 US. There is 30 milliliters of product inside, and the foundation comes in 3 shades. Those shades are 101 Pink Ivory, 201 Yellow Beige, and 301 Honey Rose Beige. The formula of the foundation has an SPF of 50+, PA+++, which protects your skin from harmful UV rays, and it is formulated with high-performance pigments to give full coverage and offer a thin and flawless complexion for a long time wear, and it is also darkening free. The formula has 3 different kinds of fits or purposes, which makes it a triple functioning product for whitening, anti-wrinkle, and UV protection. The first fit is the Cover Fit, which is for high coverage pigmentations to cover all in small amounts. The next one is the Micro Fit for high density microparticles, finely fitting to give a smooth porcelain finish to the skin. And lastly, there is the Long Wear Fit for cover without the hassle of makeup correction and the breakdown in the formula. And I'm actually not going to talk about how to use this product specifically because that's kind of up to you to figure out when you want to use the foundation or how you would use the foundation. If you want to know what tool I use to use the product, I usually use a beauty blender or like a makeup sponge or whatever. That's how I prefer to use foundations such as these. But other than that, I'm just going to go ahead and roll my clip of my first impression of the foundation. Hey guys, so it is going to be my first time trying out the Moonshot Micro Correctfit foundation, and it's such a cute little packaging. So tiny! And I really like the bottle lid. The color I got is 201. I'm just gonna go ahead and try it out. I'm gonna do half my face first and then do a comparison for the coverage and then finish it up. And you do want to mix it up before you use it, so I'm just gonna shake it. So as you can see, I have a lot of acne scars, so we'll see if the foundation can cover that up. This is a new pimple rearing to go. This one's also a new pimple. This one's fading away a little bit. Yeah, so let's see how well the coverage is. I will do this side first. Okay, so I have covered half my face with 1 layer of foundation so far, and as you can see, the coverage is okay. It does match with my neck, so I don't have any complaints with the color matching. It is very lacking in terms of coverage, a little dewy, if you can see that. I think so far that I'm looking at it, it looks pretty natural. I don't know if you can see, pretty natural in my opinion a little bit. It does look a little bit cakey-ish around this area right here. And it could be I didn't blend it well enough, but that's what I feel. Just looks a little cakey right here. And on camera, it really emphasizes the texture, but in real life, texture is not that bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to the other half of my face. So it is fully blended on my face as much as I can. I may have used too much foundation, I don't know, but it's looking a little cakey. Yeah, it's looking a little cakey if you can tell. On camera looks, wow, on camera looks really pale, but in person it matches the bottom of my, it matches my neck, so I don't know. But yeah, it's looking pretty cakey. This side of my face is not as, like, the texture on this side is a little bit worse than this side, and I had a little difficulty blending that out. Once again, dewy. It's pretty sticky, and it hasn't really gotten a chance to set in yet, but it does transfer very easily, if you can see that on my fingers. I'm not really gonna set powder on my face today just because I wanted to see the integrity of it without it. So far, I don't really like the way it's sitting on my skin, but maybe when it sets, it'll be a little better. When I was applying around my nose, it really had like crazy creases right here that I had to press really hard with my beauty blender to blend it out, which some of you guys might be like, oh, well, that's the applicator. I have used this beauty blender or this like Real Technique sponge, makeup sponge, for my other foundation, and I'm able to blend it around my nose with that foundation that I typically use just fine. So I don't want to say that it has something to do with the beauty blender. It could be the combination of the foundations formula with this beauty blender, but for the most part, I didn't have that many issues with blending around my nose with my usual foundation. So yeah, I'm also not huge of a fan of dewiness as a foundation. So yeah, this is pretty dewy and it's not sitting on my face as well as I would like, but I'm going to have this foundation on for a couple hours today and we will check in at the end. I'm just gonna finish my makeup up and check in with you guys in a couple of hours later. So it's been 4 hours since I applied it. It was dewy since the beginning anyway, so I can't really comment on the oiliness, but it has set a little bit better into my skin, but it's still so shiny. I think it got a little shinier since I applied it, so there's that. Around my nose is like starting to collect around my nose, but so far so good. It does transfer pretty easily, but not once it's set, it doesn't transfer as easy as it did when I first applied it, so that's something. Okay, so it's been 9 hours since I wore the foundation and a lot of it came off because I had to go out and it's all over my mask, but here's proof it does transfer very easily. Some parts of it that didn't touch my face as much, like this, I actually bridged it out so that it barely touched my nose, but it still really got on there. But other than that, it's kind of looks the same as it did a couple of hours ago when I previously checked in, but it does really collect around the nose area right here. It collects a lot actually around here, and it does really cling on to like the textures of your skin, and it starts to like separate a little bit right here as well, which it might be due to the mask, but then again it might not be, so we won't know. I won't know until I try out this foundation some more without wearing the mask. But other than that, it did feel pretty lightweight. Yeah, that's all I can say that's like pretty positive about the foundation for the first time trying it. But we will check in about a week or two from now and we'll see how that goes. Now that you guys know what my first impression of the foundation is, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my 1 week impression. I only used this product for 1 full week every single day of that week, so just letting you know this isn't my usual 2 week, but it is 1 week, and I kind of got a pretty good grasp of what I liked and what I didn't like about the foundation in that 1 week. So let's go ahead and talk about what I liked, or the pros of the product first. I do want to talk about the first thing is the scent. There is a scent to this foundation. I can't really pinpoint exactly what it is, but there is a scent to it, but it's very, very light, so I don't think it's a big of a deal because the moment you apply it on, like literally the way it smells just disappears in like 2 seconds. So I like that even though it was scentless, it was really subtle. I also liked that the foundation itself actually had medium to high coverage depending on if you wanted to layer it or not, but I found that 1 layer was pretty decent. It wasn't too bad. The coverage is a lot better and more pigmented than BB cushions and whatnot, so I mean, which is a given, but I like that the fact that the pigmentation of the foundation was pretty good in terms of coverage. With that being said, I also want to say that because of the pigmentation, a little bit does go a long way. You don't really need that much makeup or that much foundation to apply to your face. It does a good job of covering any imperfections on your face without you needing to use too much product of it, which is really, really good, especially because foundation can get a little tricky. And yeah, like I just found that a thin layer is nice. It is also very easy to apply and blend out on your face, and I found that it actually blended quite well into my skin tone. So the shade I got, which is 201, actually was a good fit for my skin tone. It is also quite lightweight and very moisturizing, and it does give a natural finish when it sets. And on top of the setting mechanism of the foundation, I also found that it's quite dewy, so it will give you a dewy look as well. And like the description of the product mentioned, it didn't oxidize at all throughout the entire day that I used the foundation. Alright, so I talked about what I liked about the product. I do want to talk about what I didn't really enjoy about the foundation, and there is a few things that I didn't really prefer in the foundation. The first thing I want to mention is that it can look very cakey when you use too much foundation. So like I said, a little bit goes a long way. Definitely work in small increments and then work your way up, just because I found that if you notice in my first impression, I used too much product and I ended up looking really cakey. The second day, I kind of like lessened a little bit, but I still looked a little cakey. So I started using less and then just built my way up towards the coverage, and it looked way better that way. But like I said, foundation can be a little tricky to work with, especially if you're not used to the coverage. So yeah, a lot of the foundation layered onto your skin can make you look quite thick and cakey. I also want to state that if you don't set the foundation, it transfers so easily. Like, no kidding, it transfers just instantly, and on top of that, it also streaks quite easily. So when I was blending it out, I noticed that it streaks easily, especially even with a makeup sponge. So I would go very light-handed if I were you when using this foundation. Like I did mention in the pros, I also talked about how dewy it was. Now I'm gonna mention the dewiness again in the cons, solely because I'm actually not a big fan of dewy makeup. I have oily skin, and I honestly was never into the dewy, shiny look on my skin. I've always preferred matte. So in terms of the dewiness, I put it in pros and cons, specifically for anyone whose preference is to have a dewy look, or those who don't really like the dewy look. So I try to put it in both, because I mean, it is your preference whether you like it or not, but me specifically, I just didn't really like the dewiness of the foundation. I will also talk about that around the 5-hour mark, the makeup formula itself starts to separate on my face, mainly around my nose and my forehead. Those are the two main spots that it starts to separate around the 5-hour mark, and then around the 6 to 7 hour mark, I start to notice the separation a little bit on my chin and like the sides of my cheeks. So that is without setting. Just letting you know that I did try this out without setting the makeup or anything. It was solely just the foundation on top. So foundation alone, it does start to wear down around 5 hours for me specifically. I'll also mention that it does cling to the textures of my face. I don't really think it gave that smooth porcelain finish. Maybe when it setted and then like sat for like an hour or two, but after that I started noticing the textures on my skin looking very prominent and noticeable. So I was kind of like thrown off with that part due to the foundation. And the last thing I want to talk about of what I didn't really enjoy about the foundation, which is the most important thing for me, is that this foundation actually broke me out. I got at least one pimple that popped up at the end of the day after using this foundation, and I know it's the foundation because when I stopped using the foundation a couple of days ago, I stopped getting those minor breakouts. So, and they started coming up when I used the foundation. So I know for a fact that my skin actually doesn't like this foundation at all in terms of like the way it sits on my face, and it's like just breaking me out in that aspect. So that is the last thing I want to mention about the cons, or what I didn't really enjoy about the foundation. Now, would I really recommend this product? I think that if you have dry skin, not so much sensitive skin, but dry skin, and you are looking for a foundation that's pretty moisturizing, this is a pretty good foundation for it. If you're also a huge fan of the BB cushion version of the Micro Color Fit foundation, then I say go for it as well, because it's ultimately the same thing, but I think it's slightly more pigmented than the BB cushion. Now, I've never tried the Micro Correctfit BB cushion. I have tried the Moonshot Micro Setting Fit, I believe, BB cushion, which I reviewed on this channel a while back, and I actually preferred that more than this one because I just think that even though this product is really great for coverage, I just prefer the physical aspect of the foundation over the coverage. So I feel like you can just always layer on to make it a little bit more coverage or use concealer. But formula wise, I'm not a huge fan of this product. If you are like an oily skin type like me, or you're sensitive similar to my skin type, I wouldn't really recommend this product because I am so scared that you are going to break out like I did when I used this product. And I don't know if you can tell from the lighting, but I do have bumps on my face, and those are due to this foundation. So I'm not a big fan of this specific product from Moonshot. They do have really good products, it's just this one's just not it for me. So I don't really recommend it for anyone who has oily skin type, sensitive skin, those who don't really like dewy. I don't recommend that either. But if you honestly like high coverage foundation and you're a big fan of Korean makeup and whatnot, this is not bad, especially if you don't have sensitive skin. But if you don't like the dewiness, you can always apply translucent powder throughout the whole day. But yeah, the only thing I can say that's really good about the foundation is that one, it matched my skin tone, and two, it did not oxidize at all, which is really, really nice. But ultimately, I can't see myself reaching for this foundation ever again. Maybe in the winter, who knows? But as of right now, when it's still hot and humid, definitely not my go-to foundation. That being said, this wraps up the video here. I hope you found this video really, really helpful. If you do have any questions at all, if there's some concerns or something you need to know, let me know in the comment section down below. I always try my best to answer all of the questions or comments in the videos. But if you found this video really helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!